So the sun is rising for my early morning walk. Had a really good sleep last night, went to bed at about 8, woke up at about 4. So waited for first light before I could come for a walk. This is actually the real Parachilna Creek, not the creek that goes through the gorge. Well, it does eventually come out of the gorge, but there's no vehicular track that runs through or alongside of this like the more well-known Parachilna Gorge. And I've been here a few times over the years, and this, because we've had such a good season, the creek is like running really well. The springs are all springing, the grass is all riz. I wonder where the birdies is. But there's a beautiful pond, and there are ponds like this all the way through, creeks running all the way through. Dog hasn't found a kangaroo or even a goat yet, have you, dog? And I'm working my way from Nungawootton Hut to the dairy buildings, and not been there before because it's quite close to Angarichna village, and I normally try to stay away from the tourist spots. Anyway, carry on, Macduff. So I'm here in a creek which I cannot reveal the exact location of, because apparently the cretins scratch their names in. But we're here at the petroglyphs. Now, the people who live in this area and are descended from the inhabitants, which may have been here 30,000 years or more, have no Dreamtime story for these. Indeed, every source I've read reveals that they have no knowledge from whence they came, and they're not written in to the Dreamtime creation stories of the traditional owners. And I don't just mean the people who are near white, but I mean the real traditional owners don't have any knowledge of this. I was once with a French exchange student and Rotarians, bringing them on a tour of the Flinders. He said, "Why do you always want to find a place to camp where there's water?" Well, you have to be here in drought year, because right now, well, water's not everywhere, but it's everywhere you'd expect. What do you reckon, Doc? I don't talk to him much, so when I talk to the camera he thinks, what's going on? The sun is finally peeping over the top of the hills and getting down into the valley and warming up my fingers from about 10 miles of frost that was on the ground on top of my car this morning. Slight exaggeration, but you know what I mean. Where is the lady of the lake? Where are you, Nimaway? Is this the valley with the pond where Excalibur you threw away? But then I've heard a different tale of this great mighty sword. Another lady of the lake held it up aloft abroad. Somewhere, somehow, and Merlin too fits in to Excalibur's tale. How did the sword get from the lake to Arthur's hand one day? How did the sword get chucked away into one lake? And then another story does us tell how aloft and the lady spake, and then from there into a rock when Arthur came along. He pulled the sword out with all his might and became the King of Song. We'll come back here tomorrow when it's sunny. This morning it's taken me about an hour 3/4 to get to the first pool from Nungawutna Hut, and it's still quite cold in the morning. What time is it? 8:45. And so today's walk goes down to the dairy. And tomorrow I might come back and have a swim, because it's be about 2 hours to here from the dairy, I think. And there's even water trickling into the pond over there, so I might have a swim. It's muddy over this side, swim over where the rocks are. Dog's tired, we've only been going, what, 2.5 hours. But this is so pleasant. I've only ever been along here before in drought and then double or very heavy drought. And so the wildlife is always focused at those times on the rock pools, which are few and far between. And now we haven't seen any except goats in the very dim and distance. And you know, you can see why. We've got waterfalls here. This actual spot would be a nice place to swag and camp for a couple of nights, but we're passing through. As I get closer to the tourist village of Parachilna, the path gets more well trodden. There are signs for white fellas, which I hate. If you can't find your way, don't come. And the path is like, it might as well be the city parklands. So this is a Monday after the weekend, which obviously must have been a million people here. Hang on, what's that over there? So I'm walking the creek here. What do I see? A horseshoe print. Could it be from King Arthur's Diprotodon? He thinks he got away with coming to South Australia. And now we have the pink slated floor of Camelot Castle. Thousands of years since Arthur was here, but Camelot remains in Diprotodon country. And here we are, less than a k from Parachilna, and we're at the old goat dairy, which used to serve the mines. Apparently one of these is a house and the others are stock. Guessing that's a house because it's got a chimney. Imagine being out here, so I can make $1 out of this. Get some dairy goats, live by the side of the creek, middle of nowhere, dig some dugouts, get the aircon from Kogan, and there we have people and the fence, and there's our Parachilna village just over the hill. I'm going to go up the hill and have a look. And here we have Parachilna, nice blue and white signs. Parachilna Gorge Trail connects to the creek from here, which means Parachilna Springs is what I just passed about 10 minutes ago, and it was really nice, and I guess it's close enough for the goat dairy, which is just down there. Anyway, some days I feel as old as Merlin as I do. I've been walking since what, 7:05? It's now 10:15, so that's 3 hours to get back to the hut. Might have a swim on the way yet, we'll see. So, this is Parachilna Springs, again, not in Parachilna Gorge. It's on Parachilna Creek before it gets to the gorge, which is about 4 k's downstream. So if you have only ever driven through Parachilna Gorge, you've never been to Parachilna Springs. Nor had I until today, and I've been coming up this way for 5 decades or more. Waterfall down there where we were just standing. And the springs go all the way up to the next big rock. I might have a swim, but it'll be later when I'm back near home at the hut. The springs there have opened up, and so there'll be enough there for me to have a dunk. So we're following the creek path along here, and I wonder which way to go from here. Oh, I'm from Sydney. I need a sign. God save me. And I'm an atheist. I thought I'd follow the creek bed instead of taking the path over the cliff. It's worth it, otherwise you wouldn't see the rocks seeping water. Oh, this thing's swimming in there. I know from bitter experience how cold that is, so I'm passing for now. I'll do one when I get back to the hut. We've had enough now. Every time I stop he lays down in the shade. But we're back home for the next couple of nights as well as last night. 6 hours and 10 minutes with only 2 10-minute stops. That's enough of a walk for me. I'm glad I did it in the cool of the morning.